Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from passionate Reds, only on All for United.
That's how we do it, hey? Fucking get in. Listen, I know it wasn't pretty, okay? But we're going to be confident tonight, okay? There's lots of good talking points tonight, I feel. And I'm just over the moon that we won the fucking game. Couldn't keep the clean sheet, unfortunately, but there you go. Just going to go to some of the comments first. Yoda, one and all, that was much, much better tonight. Not perfect, but it's green shoots to hopefully better times ahead. Absolutely, we need to build upon this. Good evening, great panel. Academy scoring, Dallo being awesome. First side to reach 300 away wins. They can't help it, the admin at United at the moment, can they? Got to smile. I know Ronaldo isn't. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Andrew, good to see you, buddy. Even in all, it's double delight for United tonight with us beating Brentford, but also our women's team won against Arsenal. Excellent stuff.
Lovely
I knew they were 1-0 up. Although Google was telling me a moment ago it was 0-0, so they need to get better staff. Anyway.
Russo scored, wasn't it?
Yes. United tray of hosts finally has a win. That's absolutely right. I mean, I don't think my luck is quite as bad. But there you go. Second half FC is back. And that was the title of the show. Well, where do we start? Bruno looking on fire at the moment. Really pleased with his performances. 2 goals, 2 assists in 2 games, which is great to see. Amy, give me your overview on that.
I don't really want to talk about the first half, to be honest. I thought it was quite bad.
Let's just pretend that there was only 45 minutes to this game and it was the second half. All right, go.
Yeah, we're definitely so much better in the second half. We looked like we wanted it more than Brentford. I know in the first half we definitely didn't look like we wanted it all, and Brentford wanted it all. But so much better. McTominay and Bruno were very good in second half, which was great to see. It's a pity McTominay got injured there in the last half of it, but definitely looked so much better in that second half.
We absolutely did. I got absolutely crucified in the group chat because I said that Fred, yes, he lost the ball a couple of times, but I thought he was pretty good in that first half, and I thought he was even better in that second half. I'm going to come to you, Tom, because I saw your tweet about all the stats. So talk to me about how you felt he played today.
I thought it was fantastic. Catalyst in setting up the goal, wasn't he? But outside of that, like, his tracking back was brilliant. Winning the ball back, he just looked a rejuvenated Fred. It was, I couldn't believe what I was watching, to be honest. But look, you got to give it hats off. Stats don't lie. That way, that stats don't lie to this man here. But look, you got to give it. He had a great game, but I thought all 3 of the midfield had a great game. You know, McTominay, obviously, Amy said they got injured a little bit at the end, but all 3 of them today, they all had a big hand in this win. First half wasn't perfect, bar Fred. But look, second half, I thought as a 3 they worked really well. Fred was catalyst to it. As much as people out there that don't like to admit it, you've got to take your hat off to him. He was great. And obviously Dallo got man of the match. I thought that was pretty deserving too. Look, great performance. 3 points on the board. First half again wasn't great, but it's about that second half performance. And if we can build on that now, get that winning feeling. And we needed a convincing performance, I think. And we needed one of these away wins where we go somewhere and we just put on a performance like we did second half. You know what I mean? And come away with 3 big points. And I said it at the start of the week, this is a 6 point a week. We could end this week in such a strong position. It's season defining. And that's the best way for me. I think we could have got off to it. You know, it's just a relief, big sigh of relief. And I'm just chuffed to bits for that.
Yeah, I'm chuffed to bits too. Good points. Well, May, let me just redo this a little bit. Denzel, good to have you in the chat. I haven't seen you before. Evening, chaps. Good to have you here. John makes a very good point here, and I'm going to come to you about Fred Rees. 3 assists in 3 games, as I said in the group chat. Talk to me.
Pastor strikes again. That's all I need to say on him, mate. That's all I have to say. Sit down, Fred haters. Sit down, and suck on that. It was great to see. Yeah, I will agree with Tom though. Like, he didn't have a great first half. Now, to be fair, none of them did. But I think as he grew into the game, he got played a little bit further forward. it suited him more. He is not a number 6. He shouldn't be playing in a defensive role. Play him in a box-to-box role. He gets to get forward on the ball. He's so great at pressing. You just need to feed him better. That's the problem. Is if you can feed him in that position with a player that can sit in that holding role, you'll be fine. It's just we always say it. It's the partnership doesn't particularly work well, and that's Fred and McTominay. I'm not going to go after the both of them. I thought second half they were great. First half they were poor. It's just that Brentford had about 5 or 6 shots in the first 10 minutes. They didn't score. That's the difference. If you don't take those chances, at the end of the day, the more clinical, better side's going to take them, and it says all that we won 3-1 purely by those guys working hard in midfield. So.
Absolutely, as Bainesy says here, get your comments in and we will try and discuss. Sophia, good to have you in the chat. 2 goals and 2 assists for Bruno in 2 games. We will talk about him momentarily. Henry, great to have you back, my man. It's been several weeks. Unfortunately for me and for you, it's on a positive night tonight, and I'm so pleased you're here. How are you, bro, first of all? And talk to me about your thoughts on the game, mate.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm doing pretty good. Just chaotic with Christmas and uni, but
that was 3 weeks ago, bro. But
yeah, exactly. This is how weird it's been. I've had 3 assignments due in the last 3 weeks since Christmas. Ridiculous, but hey ho, we move. The game was. I mean, it's a good game to come on after. To be honest, I'm gassed. I'm delighted. We've seen a good performance for once. First half was frustrating again because we keep seeing the same mistakes made by the same players. But second half, no complaints whatsoever. I'm liking Bruno in this deeper role as well. I'm liking it a lot because his ball retention's a lot better, and he isn't playing hero ball anymore, which he was doing a lot recently. So when he's got players around him, he's able to kind of retain the ball. So much better, just so much better the second half. But I'm not going to count my chickens and think that we're going to perform exactly like that at the weekend, because you just don't know what you're going to get with this United side. The first half was dreadful, and then they put on a performance like that in the second. So, yeah, the West Ham game is huge. That's all I can really say about this week. It is massive. One of the biggest games we've had this season. And we were talking about, last time I was on here, we were all a bit kind of down because Solskjaer had left, but
because I was hosting probably, but yeah,
because your jinx little curse keeps coming up every time you host, mate. That's why.
Not tonight, bro.
Not tonight. No, but it was a bit morbid last time I was on, so it's nice to be on. And we look like a team that Ralph wants to have. We look like a team that he's put his imprint on already. And as soon as you've got a manager that knows, kind of positionally we're a little bit better, we're a little bit smarter in that game than we were in the Villa game. So we're learning as we go along. But these players got to learn fast because we've got big games coming up.
Absolutely. And I think this is what it's all about. The last few weeks haven't been pretty. There's a lot of adjusting, but ultimately it's baby steps. And you can see some improvements here and there, and hopefully we can see in the next few games we can get a clean sheet, defend a little bit better, maybe do well in the set pieces. That's an awful stat which I'm not going to bring up again tonight. Andrew makes a wonderful comment here. Alanga's importance within the team is growing. He was constantly making those runs from out to inside forward, obviously, and was finally picked out by Fred, and he showed great composure what a finish, Bainesy. I know, listen, we can all get excited. Obviously, it's his first goal since the end of last year. He's obviously been given an opportunity on several occasions recently, but he took that so well, didn't he?
It was a touch. It was that Fred whipped a ball in, and he had to control it or try and sort of flick it on first time. It's the touch that does it, because I think it fools the defender and the keeper at the same time. And then all he had to do was just nod it in, and it was definitely the touch. He's been brilliant. I think Rashford needed to be dropped for obvious reasons. His body language and whatever over the last few games just hasn't been good enough. Alanga's obviously come in and made it himself. He's got a goal today. I don't know whether Rashford saw that and thought, shit, I need to get sorted here. And even when Rashford scored, to be fair, he didn't really celebrate, did he? But yeah, for Alanga, absolutely delighted for him. I think we need that healthy competition. And that's what you get with a youngster like Alanga, because he's got no fear. He will go out and he'll press and he'll run for days, and he'll listen to people like Bruno and Harry Maguire, and especially Cristiano Ronaldo, who played that role and made it his own over the years. I thought it was brilliant from him. I must say that the second half was a lot better from everyone. I don't think anyone was outstanding that first half, apart from De Gea, of course. But it was just that same timid. We didn't look up for it. You know, we needed half time to sort of sit down and regain composure. In some sense, we were lucky to not go 2-0 down in that first half. I don't think anyone had a good half. But then second half, it seems like once again the players listened to whatever was said in that halftime break, and they listened to it and they came out, and instantly we saw within a couple of minutes there was intent, the press was good, and there was more. The ball was moving quicker. There was 1 and 2s, and obviously we got that first goal, and then we just grew into the game. Just before quickly with Fred, I just don't think it was his game today. What we saw was we needed.
He got
more
bullied
physicality.
in the middle, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He did get bullied. Honestly, I like Fred. I don't hate him. I've actually supported him for many months, even in his bad patches. But I just don't think today was the right game for him. McTominay, on the other hand, he matched them physically, and you could see, he was stepping side to side. He was getting past players. He created one of the goals. So yeah, I just think for Fred, it was sort of a mismatch in midfield. Although, who do we really have? Matic played against Villa, so he couldn't play, and we know how old he is, and his legs are gone. So I don't really blame Fred for playing. It's just that I just think there was a bit of a mismatch. But then second half, he was brilliant. He made the first goal for Alanga. So yeah, much better second half. It's a much needed 3 points, and I think we've got to go to West Ham now and beat them. And I think we go fourth if we beat West Ham, because they're fourth at the moment, but we have a couple games in hand on them, or depends how the results go.
Got to win those yet.
Yeah, we leapfrog them. Yeah.
We go 2 points clear.
2 points clear. Yeah, if we beat them.
Yeah.
Good points, well made, mate. I just want to come to a couple of comments, and then I'm going to come to Henry shortly. Good to see Greenwood get on the score sheet tonight. And this is another positive I see. You've got to try and look outside the box sometimes. We saw Rashford score tonight. He absolutely needed that. We saw Greenwood score tonight. He absolutely needed that. And we want Bruno to score to continue the form that he's in at the minute. So I think 3 great goal scorers, and you couldn't really ask for more, to be honest. Good point there. Even Alanga said it was the touch that set it up. Rashford has been good off the bench this season. Maybe he needs to stay as a bench player for a few games, and she's not wrong. He's come off the bench a few times and has looked like more of an impact player. And obviously, listen, if you can contribute to the team in any way, shape or form, it's better than not at all. So that's good stuff. Neil was in the comments. Good to see you, buddy. Evening all, he says. Hopefully this is the catalyst for us to kick on and go on a bit of a streak. We look more solid when we don't play 2 strikers. I absolutely agree with that. And I think Ralph made some comments in the last 48 hours to suggest, or at least before that he wasn't going to go with his 4-2-2-2. And we even looked like we were playing a 4-3-3, which obviously we've been calling for a long time now. I certainly have. But we don't really have the players to play that DM role. But I think it was better tonight for sure, and even in the last game up until we conceded 4-2-3-1, it was better. So I hope he stays away from that. Listen, you can play high press, you can win your second ball as well in any formation. So I hope he kind of takes the best of both worlds, essentially. Henry, you were saying in the background about Thomas Frank and his comments. Can you just tell us what he said, please, buddy?
Well, he said they are unbelievably lucky. I know all the crap about taking chances. They changed the system against little Brentford. Right. This guy needs to wind it. This guy needs to wind his neck because he whinged about Ronaldo at the start of the season. The reality is, Ronaldo's gone and dunked on his head, and he doesn't like it. Ronaldo, you know, the little chest pass, that was a little middle finger to Thomas Frank and go, you what, mate? You said I was finished. You said I was dusted. Yeah, this guy. There's a time and a place where you need to learn where you're at, And the reality is that he called out one of the best goal scorers ever at the start of the season. And it's just, he's been slapped in the face by a freshly baked pie today, and he doesn't like it. So, he needs to know his place. And the reality
freshly
is,
baked pie. I love your analogies, bro. And I tell you what, that's something I've certainly missed since you've not been here.
It might be why Ronaldo was a bit pissed, actually, because him coming off. Maybe he had that in the back of his mind and thought, well, the other manager was having a go at me at the start of the season. I just wanted to score against him. Could you imagine, So, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think it was more of the fact of he knew that we balls it up at Villa, and he knew that he didn't want it to happen again. If there was going to be a killer third goal, he wanted it to be him, and you could just see it so bad. But after Rashford scored, you could see Ralph sat down with him, spoke to him, and they were agreeing. It was just
they were.
Thing. I'm not reading too much into that.
Yeah, you can't.
That comment. Can I just quickly address that comment from Gary Rushers? I keep seeing these things. I keep seeing these about if Ronaldo's the problem, and I'm absolutely tired of it. I'm so tired of it. He's the reason why this side has, had the mentality to win that game today. He's the reason why attacking players like Alanga, why they're taking their chance. Because he instills a mentality in some of the players that if you don't work hard and if you don't train hard, you won't play and you won't be good enough to play for Manchester United. And I'm tired of people seeing that he's bringing the players down. He's won so much, and he won at Juve, and he will do his best to win at United. He's just come to the club at a really bad spot, and it's not his fault whatsoever. And I'm tired of people just putting the blame on him because it's nothing to do with him. He's
Yeah, you do have to take these things with a pinch of salt. And quite honestly, listen, you're absolutely right with the accolades, with the player that we know he is, the goals that he scored. He has come to the club at the wrong moment. And listen, he doesn't press well from the front. That is absolutely true, okay? But you cannot take anything else away from him. And it's a team game, and the team has been absolutely shocking. If you are not going to provide your strikers with a killer pass, you're only as good as the pass you receive, right? And he's not getting that, bro. So yeah, I'm a little bit fed up with that myself. But I do agree in the fact that he doesn't press from the front, but we will go into that on another show, not tonight. Just to talk about him very quickly, Amy, I wanted to come to you about this. Obviously, he showed a little bit of annoyance when he came off the field. Is that just him as a personality? Can you understand why, or do you think, do we just take it with a pinch of salt too, essentially?
Yeah, I said this during the game. Like, I take that as a pinch of salt. We know Cristiano Ronaldo, he sets standards for himself. And I feel like it was more annoyance of the performance that he put in himself rather than actually being taken off. So I wouldn't look too much into it, to be honest. And I know a lot of people are going to look into it so much because it is Ronaldo, but I don't think there's much in it, to be honest.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I've just seen some comments, one by Alanga, and I'm going to read a few more out after the game, that's been said after the game, sorry. I've played with Greenwood in the academy. It's a pleasure to play with him on this stage. Playing with Ronaldo is an honour. Now, if that's not a young professional that we've got on our hands, I don't know what is. Just to go on what Thomas Frank has said, and I'm going to come to you, Reece, in a second. Following on from what he said, we are the smallest club in the Premier League. Manchester United, the biggest. We destroyed them in the first half. They didn't have a sniff. The way we smashed them in the first half was fantastic. So proud of my team. Has he got a point?
Well, he does have a fair point, actually. But the old saying goes is you can't win a game in 45 minutes, but you can lose a game in 45 minutes. And in the end of the total is he lost it in the last half. So they did in the first half alone. In fact, I wouldn't even go the first half alone. The first 10 minutes, they had 7 shots to our 1, and yet we had 65% possession. So he isn't wrong about smashing us, but his team weren't clinical. So it doesn't matter who you're playing against, whether it be Man United, Liverpool, or hell, even a Southampton. If you don't take your chances, and the other team puts them in your own net, it's the end of the line, really.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to point this comment out. Denzel, as I said earlier, great to have you with us, bro. And he makes the perfect point here. Ronaldo will be just Fine. Absolutely spot on. I wanted to talk a little bit more about that relationship with McTominay and Fred. And I think that Amy and Rach hit this spot on Devil's Advocate the other day, which you need to go and watch, by the way. A fabulous show on Tuesday. But Amy, you said to me, and I'm going to come to you, Tom, about this, but you said to me, I think individually they're both good players, but as a partnership, they aren't. And I think that that's very true. But what are your thoughts on that? Tom, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, you're coming to me? I thought you were speaking to Amy. No, look, I think you're right in a sense. And I can't really argue with it. And let's be honest, if we do ever sign a central holding midfielder, one of them's out anyway. Because he's not going to chop Bruno, is he? So one of them, essentially, we're playing two players in our team that will probably be arguing over one spot, if you know what I mean. So I can see what you're saying there. And it proves a lot, actually, because I noticed it today. And Fred over the last 2 games with 2 assists. When one of them goes forward, they always outshine the other. Do you know what I mean? Like McTominay going forward, driving forward with the ball, going past players, made it look easy at points tonight. I thought it was great, and he can do that. And then that relies on Fred not doing that. So I think they're very counterpoints in a sense where when one goes forward, the other has to sit back. You don't really see what the other's doing, if that makes sense. I think it cancels out what you're saying. So does it work like as a tandem? No, it probably doesn't, because they're both that player that needs to be driving forward. I don't believe. This is why I don't think Scott McTominay will play in the 6. So if we're playing a 4-3-3, I asked, where does this leave this midfield? Because Rangnick won't drop Fred. He loves Fred. We've seen that. It's evident. Obviously, Bruno's not going to get dropped.
Just to interject there a little bit, we need about sort of 6 or 7 midfielders, really, right? And nobody can play in the 6 very well, apart from Matic. But we see playing 90 minutes, and we've seen all the comments and whatever. But there's no one to play there, and this is why Ralph desperately needs to get that number 6 in, because you see when McTominay is playing further forward, we've got Pogba to come at. When you've got Fred playing further forward, Van der Beek, obviously lots of questions about him, Bruno, they will thrive so much more, and you see that today. Whilst defensively their positioning isn't brilliant, going forward they are far better. And you know what? It does annoy me about McTominay when people say you get 1 great game and 7. You're absolutely right, but that's because they try and pull him back, play defensively, and he's not able to venture forward like he does in that 1 game where he is, yeah?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and that's what I mean. Like, they're both the same player in a sense where they're so much better going forward. They're almost like chalk and cheese when they play together. It just
I've heard that terminology about them so much recently, but it's absolutely spot on.
But it doesn't work, because all right, there's games where it can work, because I know people are slating me for it, but I thought Fred defensively tonight, he did well. He did win. He did what he needed to do with his duels. You know, his ground duels. He won most of them. I'm happy with that. And I think at half time he won 5 of the 7 that he made in the duels he had, which is great. So if you times that by 245, so what's that? He's winning 10 out of 14 10 out of 14 of his duels a game. You know what I mean? So I'm happy with that, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to go, right, that's pretty decent. And I did it at half time. You looked at what others were doing, and not many others were there. So I was quite happy with that. But I get what you're saying, and I agree with you. And again, like I said, chalk and cheese. I think they're so similar. When they're playing together, they hurt each other more than if they weren't, if you know what I mean. When they were battling over that one position that would be left in that midfield 3.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Very good points, well made. I'm just going to read some more stats up for you. Fred, again, game by numbers versus Brentford, 100% tackles won, 5 out of 5, 83% pass accuracy, probably needs to be a little bit higher. 10 ball recoveries, 2 interceptions, 2 successful dribbles, 2 big chances created, 1 assist, another assist for Pastor Fred. Bainesy, what do you make of that, bro?
Yeah. Look, like again, I like Fred. He's that destroyer in the box. He's not going to sit in front of the defense and command it like how we see a Fabinho or a Rodri or even Matic do it. So he's just not that player. He's that destroyer, gets busy. You know, he's in and around you. He presses a lot, and I think that's probably why Rangnick likes him. Don't get me wrong. I think under Rangnick and even at times under Oli, and even Mourinho, he was great. He's been fantastic, and we know what he can do. Is just the issue is we know what also he can't do. And I think more people pay attention to what he can't do than what he actually can. Now you try and see the off balance with McTominay, and you try and you know, if you're a good team, you cover each other's weaknesses. So with Fred, I think he's brilliant. He has, everyone says he has that one in seven or whatever game, but I just don't think it's true. The stats prove it there that he was good. Okay, his pass accuracy needed to be better, but I come back to the same point. I just don't think he was good enough in the first half because he just couldn't match the physicality of Brentford in that first half. Now, second half, obviously, we must have tweaked it. We changed something, which then got him on the ball a bit more. Of course, he got that. I don't know if that counts as an assist, but let's say it does. And he got that ball, and he was a lot more into the game, and we saw what Fred can really do, and he's that destroyer in the box. So I like him. He needs to keep playing. I think McFred need to keep playing until the end of the season. Matic hasn't got any legs. I don't know what's wrong with Van der Beek. I just don't think he's cut out for the Premier League. Maybe he's not physical enough. Maybe he's not quick enough. Maybe fitness might not be there or whatever. I don't know. No one knows because we don't see what happens at the training pitch. We can only judge him what happens on a football pitch. But yeah, I think McTominay and Fred, they need to be the two in midfield with Bruno. Not sure how it works with Pogba because I would prefer Pogba in there somewhere. But then do you shoehorn him in that left wing position? I don't know. But McFred, as everyone says it, they need to play for me to the end of the season unless we buy a midfielder in January. But let's see.
Yeah, a bit of a conundrum, isn't it? They seem to play extremely well. I say 45 minutes. As I said, we're pretending there's only 45 minutes today, but they seem to play extremely well some games, and it just doesn't quite work for them in others. But yeah, I don't disagree with you, buddy. Amy, just a stat for you that your wonderful Keno has just posted, and I'm going to come to you about this. Bruno Fernandes versus Brentford, 81% pass accuracy, 78 total touches, 24 final third passes. And if that's not what you're wanting for, I don't know what is. 5 passes into the penalty area, 4 chances created, 2 assists. That's why he's our Portuguese Magnifico, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely love the man. And I know people were giving out there for a while because he was dropped in form, but every player isn't going to be so consistent all the time. They're going to have a dip in form at some stage. And to be honest, Bruno carried us for the last 2 years. So he was obviously going to have a different form, but it's so nice to see him back in form again. Hopefully he can continue on the form. I think the 2 goals against Villa definitely gave him a boost in confidence again, and hopefully we can see it more going forward. But we definitely seen in the second half he was definitely running the midfield, to be honest.
He really was. And I say this on so many occasions about Bruno. Yes, his form hasn't been particularly good of late. However, as somebody that's going to play forward passes, take risks. With a risk, it's a risk for a reason. You are bound to lose the ball. You are bound to misplace passes. But a lot of them worked out today, and you're absolutely spot on, Amy. I think he was almost at least back to his best, and I really hope long may that continue. Just some more comments we're going to come to you about, Reese. Just firstly, actually, there's a lot of you watching on Facebook and Twitter. So come over to YouTube. We want to be able to read your comments out, and we want to be able to discuss them. But yeah, Rangnick has made a comment about David De Gea. He was obviously sensational tonight, kept us in the game first half, and saved our blushes. Unfortunately, we obviously come out on top in the end. But he said, one of the best goalkeepers in the world right now. Period. He's absolutely spot on, obviously. And then he said as well, he wants to score goals. This is on Ronaldo, sorry. He wants to score goals, and I have to bear in mind we have a game in 3 days. We said this. We had to defend a 2-0 lead, and it was the right decision to switch to a back 5. And he's absolutely spot on. For all the things that we had to go at him for midweek against Villa, he rectified that this week, and I don't care if Ronaldo's pissed off. He made the right choice. He's bought him off. He's got one eye on the weekend, and he made the right decision. But David De Gea tonight, talk to me about him, Reece. He is certainly close to back to his best. I do have some issues sometimes with his aerial presence, with his him being vocal to his defenders, but he was sensational again tonight, wasn't he?
Yeah, like for all the weaknesses that De Gea has, like staying on his line, which people moan about, or lack of distribution, which tonight, by the way, was better than I've seen. His distribution tonight was actually spot on. He does give you a wealth of experience as a top goalkeeper, and you can have a goalkeeper that can distribute brilliantly like a Henderson, but that doesn't make a difference if they don't do their fundamental job, which is defend their net, like shot stopping. Yes, tonight we conceded an unfortunate goal by Ivan Toney, but De Gea gives you a wealth of experience, and that's at the end of the day what we need. And tonight it's just great that we've rectified a few situations in terms of we went from a back four to a back five. The manager proving why he's the professor. It just says it all that you learn from those mistakes. We weren't smart against Villa. Smarter tonight in terms of defending the lead the right way, and that's the difference. And obviously for De Gea, it was great for him. Just unfortunately, he didn't get that clean sheet that he deserved. 4 and 20, 4 or 5 and 20. He deserves more realistically for his performances this season. He deserves a lot more, but it's not all down to him. It's simple mistakes from the defence, which leads to goals we concede. But what more can you expect, really?
Absolutely, and this comment really made me chuckle. And David, who's in our chat, makes me laugh quite often. But he says the Great Wall of Paella back to his best, and he's absolutely right.
We should change that now. We'll rename him. He's no longer the Spanish octopus. We'll now just call him the Great Wall of Paella. That works. We'll do
whenever
that
you
now.
say octopus, it reminds me of Aurelio Gomez from Spurs, and we know how that turned out, right? Anytime a player gets open, it's better just getting open and releasing the ball forward needs to happen more. This has been our problem all season, getting that ball forward, and this is why I feel that if we can get a natural DM that can progress the ball a bit more. We've said this about Matic.
Something else, if you don't mind.
Go, sorry, bro. Yeah,
it was just back on the Bruno comments. I've said it to you before numerous times. Bruno's lacking form is because he was playing in a role where he wasn't actually disciplined. I've said it numerous times. Play him in a role and get him in a disciplined state of play, and he's actually effective. If you just constantly tell him to free roam, he's not going to be effective. If he's in a disciplined system, like he was today, like he was against Villa, he gets the goals, and it's reflective. Don't play him free roam vibes FC. Don't give him that. Put him in a disciplined role, like as an 8, and let him drip in between the number 10 role and the number 8 role, because that's what he done in both games superbly. So that's realistically for me. Don't play him as free roaming. Keep him disciplined.
Yeah, keep him. If I could, there, Matt. Just because someone else said something. I
want to talk about Paella again, but go on.
Yeah, no, just on that, because you mentioned about Bruno there tonight, and obviously against Villa. Did you notice one thing? Someone said just then we should be playing through Bruno and let him be the main man. I think it was Fact Checker or somebody. Yeah, there. Bruno should be the main man of the team, and everything should go through him. Did you notice something? Reece mentioned it there. Against Villa, he came on. He did that. He came, obviously started tonight. He did that. Look how much better we were. When Reece says about discipline, it's also this structure. When Ralph said, we're going to play a 6, and he literally came out and said 2 8s. It's a dedicated position, what he's asking him to do. And he's seen it over the last 2 games. He saw it against Villa. He's tried it tonight, and it's worked perfect. I think you're absolutely right when you got to say you keep him disciplined, keep him structured. You play through a player like Bruno Fernandes. It's all on up to who's up top. Then it's up to you to you get the chances. You're talking about chances. If you don't supply, if the demand outweighs the supply, you'll always fail. But if it doesn't, and you're playing balls like Bruno is, you're thriving like he is in that position. It's guaranteed. All right, not 100%, but you are guaranteed to at least put yourself in a much better position, and we saw that tonight.
Similar to how he played for Sporting before he transitioned into number 10. It was the exact same way. So we got to stick with this.
Yeah.
Henry, sorry, bro. Everyone was talking away. We've had Payet
right.
come up and all of that. I tell you what, David, that really has tickled me. And I'm it's absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to come to you, Henry, about a conversation that we had a little while ago. And I hate to throw you under the bus, but I want to talk to you about Diogo Dalot. Now, if I remember rightly, we've spoke about Aaron Wan-Bissaka and obviously being in poor form. And you weren't such a huge fan of Dalot, and I get your reasoning. I totally understand your reasoning, but has he impressed you, and do you think that he's done well in these 8 games that he's played?
Well, I would take Barney the purple dinosaur over Wan-Bissaka at right back, if I'm being honest, mate. He's just legs and air shots. So I don't think he's really in the question.
Honestly, you lot are trying to give me a heart attack tonight.
But no, we had that conversation. I think it was after the Villarreal game when I lost it a little bit, because I was there. Yeah. I was just watching him getting mutilated by Danjuma, and I was thinking, this guy is done. This guy's had it, just because of the way that he was performing. And to be honest, he's been brilliant since Ralph took over, and it does show that consistency in a team can improve you. He was our best player today by a country mile, just with his goal line clearances. He's still got to work on a few little things. He seems to switch off a couple of times when it comes to on the ball rather than off it.
I would say that his defensive positioning is what lets him down. He starts in the wrong areas, doesn't he? But he was better today.
Yeah, Wan-Bissaka his positioning is awful. So I think when you compare the two, it's there's massive daylight. Wan-Bissaka ends up right back in the crowd. He has no idea what he's doing when it comes to positioning. So, and I think that him being out the side because of illness, and I'm sorry, I'm not really buying that. I think he's out the side because there's a realization that he's just not good enough. And I think that Ralph's a smart enough guy to realize that, when players are up to it and when they're not. And Wan-Bissaka is 50 million down the drain, a sad Tony Marshall song where he is 50 million down the drain. It's such a sad thing to talk about, but yeah, a complete waste of money, really. So, but Dalot was fantastic again, and I hope it continues. I hope Luke Shaw and Tellez continue their little battle as well, because that's good to see. I thought Tellez was a little bit meh at times. He gets caught. I think if he has a long run of games, then he'll be better. But
I love the left peg on him though. He does whip those balls in. I just thought someone would get on the fucking end of it.
He's set piece taker at Porto for God knows how many years. So this guy he's been doing it at the top level for a long time. So I think you just got to trust him. And it's just a weird situation to be in, where we've got 4 fullbacks that are competing. I mean, you bring Brandon Williams back potentially. I don't think he should be a starter, but he's been doing better than Wan-Bissaka would do in this United side. So yeah, we've got a bit of competition there for once.
Our good friend Graham Bailey the other night tweeted, I think this was last night, yeah, he tweeted that Ralph did a presentation and suggested that Harry, Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka were potentially not good enough, and I'm just alluding to John's comment here. What do you reckon? Do you think it's got some sort of truth in that? And obviously, we've got to sort of see things, how things play out. But Harry hasn't started for a couple of games now. Shaw is Tellez is certainly high above and beyond Shaw at the minute, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well. Amy, what do you think on the comments that were out last night?
I'm not surprised, to be honest. I was expecting Ralph to be a little harder on the players, to be honest, because we were talking about last night on the show as well how Ollie was always more like their best friend more than he was their coach. So he was always there to put his arm around them rather than actually being tough on them. So for a manager to come out now and say that, he doesn't prefer these players on the team and he doesn't think they're good enough for the team, it just goes to show where his head is at and where he plans to go for the future, to be honest. we were talking about last night. We knew this was going to happen at some stage with any other manager that came in. It didn't necessarily have to be Ralph, but because Ollie babied them so much, there was always going to be a few that threw their dummies out of the pram, to be honest. And look, whether it's true or not, I don't know. But from our point of view, watching games, there is some truth in it.
I'm just going to read something which is quite a damning stat, and I don't know if you saw, BT did it tonight, Sky Sports did it the other night. I think during the Sky Sports game against Villa, 100 corners this season, 0 goals. What was that? Set pieces, yeah. And then tonight, 107. I think it might be about 110 now, I think, by the end of the game. It's appalling, but just to emphasise this point, we had 9 corners and made absolutely nothing. That's quite a lot in a game. I know we've seen 17 under Moyes, but that's nothing to shout home about, right? But 9 corners and absolutely nothing to show for it. Tom, you wanted to come in, bro?
Yeah, that stat's actually corners only. I mean, what does that tell you? That tells you one thing. Have you not got the right player putting the ball in? And as we saw so many times tonight, how many times did that ball not go past the first man on the post or first man on the 6-yard area? It's frustrating. But when you got players like Harry Maguire, all right, Varane's only just come back. Harry Maguire has got the biggest head in sports. How are you not hitting that target? Like, how are you? We've seen it. So how many times we've seen it in the past, be it when he was at Leicester, when he was with England? That was his bread and butter. Why are we not getting that service to him? The ball comes in, it's going nowhere near him, and we've got players that can get on the end of it. Like Ronnie jumps higher than a salmon. Do you know what I mean? Are we not getting there? I just don't understand it. It's 100 corners plus. Do you know what I mean? Honestly, it's an embarrassing stat. If there's one stat I think we need to banish and really, really put to bed, that's the next one. Followed swiftly by a clean sheet, because I'm not bothered about a clean sheet as long as we score more than the opposition. Isn't that what Ralph said? We can score. They can score 3 as long as we score 4. We just need to get that little hoodoo out of the way, because it's the most annoying stat. You know for a sure fact everyone's going to play on that for weeks on end now. Yeah, I hope it comes against West Ham. Honestly, it's a bit shocking, very damning, and I'm actually going to go and do some research on it and see why we haven't. Where's the balls going? Where's the distribution going into the box? Because there's something seriously wrong there.
I've just quickly on that. Sorry, Henry, I know you wanted to jump in, but I've seen on a few corners what we've tried to do, and I know we've got that Eric Ramsey guy coming in and doing the set piece coaching and all that, because defensively we are better at set pieces. Because I remember last season we were absolutely shocking. So clearly he's doing something defensively that's working. With the offensive corners, there is something weird going on with it, because sorry. There's something weird going on with it. Because...
I just love Tim.
Can I just say, guys, before we carry on, I don't know if my internet's shit, because it was complaining a minute ago, so I don't know if I'm chuffy, but let me just say this, right? Everybody tonight in the comments have absolutely had some blinders.
Yeah,
and love that. So
that
we want that
brilliant.
Every time. Come back, bring your mates and get those in, because it's been fucking excellent. Yeah. Sorry, Bainesy, carry on.
No, it's all good. So just what Tom was saying about what we were doing. I mean, some of the corners today didn't even hit the first man. Some of them didn't even get off the ground. Then we played short on a few of them. And I've noticed, I think it was against Villa or maybe the game before, we used to do this, pass it to Rashford. Rashford then comes across the box and then would have a shot just outside the box. And it used to be, I think it was Tellez, and then it was someone else that used to have a shot outside the box. So I think it's more about execution, because you can do as much as planning as you want on the training pitch, and you can do as much as training as you want. But if that ball is not going past the first man, I don't know what to say, because clearly they must be doing something on the training pitch. 110-ish corners, and we haven't scored from a set piece yet. That's horrendous. It's horrendous. So I don't know. There's got to be some kind of execution behind it. These comments, honestly, these comments are
Oh, the
But yeah,
comments
that's what I
tonight
just
are
want to say, just on Tom's
the
one.
comments tonight are more electric than Harry
Oh, they're
Maguire.
brilliant. They're brilliant, honestly.
Very good point. And yeah, honestly, I'm very, very pleased with all of you. So thank you so much. Henry, talk to me about set pieces, bro.
Well, yeah, it's been the age-old problem for United. I mean, but we keep talking about Maguire, but the guy, we can get the ball on his head, but he never scores. He's got a massive meathead. I know I'm not a gleaming example, but he's got a massive meathead. This guy, he's got a 9 head, and we can't stick it on his on his noggin. I'm absolutely baffled. I'm staggered. It's a big target, but then you've still got players like Varane. You've still got players like Matic. You've got Ronaldo who jumps like a dolphin or a basketball player or whatever. Take your pick. He's he's one of the best jumpers in the game. So and we can't hit these guys on the corner. When Bruno hits the first man from a corner, they should not just fine him. Terminate their contract if they can't hit the last man or the middle of the box from a corner. Terminate the player's contract. Embarrass them. Tell them to run down the middle of Manchester naked the next morning. That should be the shame, because I'm not having this anymore. I'm not having you can't hit a target. You're a professional footballer. These guys are on like 200k a week, and we're going, we need to improve set pieces. You need to improve the delivery first. If you get the delivery right, you've got 50% chance of getting a goal. I'd say, because the attacking team are better off. So it's shameless from the club to realise that that is a huge problem, and yet we're still making the same mistakes over and over and over again. It's obviously a coaching issue, but at the same time, it's just ignorance. When we're the only side in the Premier League that haven't scored from a corner this season. Am I right? Are we the only team in the Premier League that haven't scored from a corner?
Correct. That's correct. Yeah.
That's tragic. That is tragic. You've got meathead in the box. It's not difficult. I'm sorry, it's not difficult. You can float a 40-yarder and you get it. You can get it straight on his head. It's that big. Just honestly, don't know what
So what we've learned there is Henry's definition of punishment is Game of Thrones. I applaud that. I'm going to say this as well because I think Mark might remember this, because I actually got slaughtered for this on our show. I think there was one game where Bruno's delivery was absolutely shocking. My exact words were, "I do not want to see Bruno Fernandes take another corner kick for Man United," and I got slaughtered for it. But the thing is, I prefer him when he's in the box or outside the box, when he can make a difference. He cannot cross. He cannot cross a ball, and I got slaughtered for that exact comment. So, as much as I love Bruno Fernandes, it's great to be proven right. I would rather have the likes of Telles or Dallo hit a corner, or we actually get somebody who knows how to cross a fucking ball. Because it says if Bruno hits the first man, nobody bothers. Telles hits it to the back post or the middle. None of them are getting in the position. Do you really want to cross a ball towards Harry Maguire? It's pretty much the equivalent of letting Baggio repeat the penalty from '94. You hit Maguire, you know it's going over. Just don't get it. Just do not give the ball to Maguire.
Get Phil Jones on corners. Phil Jones.
That's a horrifying memory, but yeah, perhaps.
We're forgetting we've got
Horrifying.
Ronaldo. You got Ronaldo in the box, so come on, yeah.
The funny thing is, it doesn't matter who's in the box. It doesn't matter who takes the set pieces. We can defend them, but we are so shit attacking them. We may as well not play for them. Just go short instead of whipping them in the box, rather than hitting
the circle now.
You remember the last season when Shaw, for the first time ever, was doing in-swingers, and we were applauding it and getting so excited. I don't know what's happened to that. And it is a worrying
Desert
thing.
was taken away.
Yeah. Just to move on, finally, I'm going to wrap up in a minute. I know I've said it so many times tonight, guys. I've been tickled so much, and I really, really appreciate by the panel and everyone in the comments. It's been absolutely wicked. Maguire, obviously a bit of a problem there. Needed a bit of time out, but I want to just do a quick fire to the both of you, to all five of you, very quickly. And I know it's very early to tell, but I have been quite impressed, barring the 2 goals we conceded, by Varane and Lindelof, and I feel that they're a better partnership. So I just want you to go round very quickly. I'll come to you first, Amy, whether you agree, and just give me a little bit on what you think. So Amy, you go first.
Yeah, I agree, to be honest. I feel like Lindelof looks a bit more comfortable with Varane than he does with Maguire. I think Lindelof and Maguire together are a little bit shaky. I think Maguire has more terms of inconsistency than he does consistency. To be fair, when he does have a good run of consistency, he is quite good, but I think the inconsistency just completely overshadows it. So going forward, unless we do buy another centre back, I would go with the Lindelof and Varane partnership.
Reese.
100% our best centre back partnership.
I know you've been a massive advocate of Lindelof for a very long time, and I think we have to give you credit where it's due there, Brian.
It's because I use my brain. Like you remember that show? I think it was during the Euros when I said I still said Lindelof is better than Maguire. So that's all the way back to last summer and beyond. So I'm sticking with that.
At least, yeah.
They complement each other better than Maguire and Varane do. They don't complement each other at all. You want a partnership that complements. The problem is we just need them to get more consistent. So you're going to have to stick with them.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Henry, your views, bro, on that?
I've said it for a year. You'll know I don't like Maguire. I don't think he's that good of a player. I think he loses the ball too often. I think that he's got, he hits like 1 in like 5 passes, but that one pass might be a 40-yarder, and everyone calls him Paul Scholes and said he's fantastic, and he's going to be a legend of the club. It's absolute garbage.
Lindelof's better at long passes. Let me just tell you,
he's so much better.
Passing ability is
better at
excellent.
Honestly, put De Gea in centre half over Maguire, please. It is really, really bad. I know he's lost confidence or whatever, but 80 million Great British pounds, the Queen's finest silver was spent on this. Really? Really? Yeah. So I would go with Lindelof and Varane, or put Jones in there, or get Tuanzebe back and put him in there. I would put any of them over Maguire because they're all better all round than Maguire is. So it's a shame it's happened, but it's a bit of a waste of money.
I did ask for a 30-second answer, but thank you very much, Henry. I appreciate that. Tom, what about you, my man?
Yeah, I agree with the rest of the panel. It's got to be Varane and Lindelof out from here on out, innit? There's no secret. Let's not sugarcoat it. Lindelof has outshone Harry Maguire all season long. Yeah, he's had the odd game where maybe you could say Maguire was probably the better one of the two, but I guarantee you that game, neither of them had a great game anyway. But I think it's got to be Varane and Lindelof from here on out because they complement each other. They're both quick. They're both right. Lindelof makes indecisions sometimes, but they're only human. I think Varane.
Everybody's fallible.
Complements. Yeah, I think they complement each other. And it's a much quicker, and the ball distribution's unbelievable. You're saying about the 40-yarder, but it takes Harry Maguire about 20 minutes to pop that ball because he turns like a boat. So, you know what I mean? I think they complement each other.
I've seen Milk turn quicker than Harry Maguire, but...
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I agree with the rest of you. It's got to be Varane and Lindelof from here on out, backed up by probably Jones, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bainesy, last but not least, bro, do you agree with everyone else?
No, I actually don't. Look, I know yes! Maguire. I know Maguire's not good this season, and I'm not going to back that because he's been awful. But last season, I mean, he rarely did anything wrong. I think this game really did suit him, where we had just. First half, we could not clear a ball, and when you just sort of forget about the second half for a second, but if you go back to the first half, if Maguire's in there, he's winning 99% of the balls. Everyone's been saying here that he's got the massive head, so anything that comes into the box, he should get himself on it. But now all of a sudden, he's not good enough, and he's not blah blah blah. So I think there's a bit of an overreaction because I know this year he's been He hasn't been up to his best. He's got this Euros hangover. Fair enough. Varane and Lindelof, of course, are playing themselves into the 11. But I think as time goes, we'll realise that Maguire will be the partner for Varane, and we'll know why. And he'll play himself back into the 11, I'm sure, when he gets fit. But yeah,
I am so pleased that you've said that, Bainsy. And listen, I'm not trying to catch anyone out here at all, but I wanted to test the waters. And listen, I think Lindelof has actually been okay recently.
Yeah, he's been good. He's been good.
Harry's been a bit unfortunate, and I want to hit the nail on the head of what you've just said. Okay, we've heard this bloody cliche before. What a class is, temporary, whatever that crap. But he is a good player. He's certainly not 80 million, but he's a good player. He's just having a really poor season, and I think eventually, you're absolutely right. When Harry finds his feet again, I think him and Varane could actually be an incredible partnership. But my point is I'm pleased that Lindelof has come in. He's done well tonight. He did play very well tonight. And it's good to have that 3 or 4. Reese, you wanted to come in on one last point. I'm going to ask you all for your man in the match, and then we're going to wrap up.
Yeah, that last thing I wanted to say is I don't know, because obviously Tom's quite heavy on stats or whatever, but it's not a stat, but it's more like just an eye is the amount of times Lindelof actually ran back to just request the ball of the hair and all that. He was constantly demanding the ball because he knows how effective he is at getting it forward. That for me is why I would have him ahead of Maguire. I don't see Maguire asking it as much as Lindelof. He asks for the ball more than Maguire does.
Yeah,
that for me is
I agree with that.
That's what it should be for a player like that mentality. Ask for the ball more, and it reflects how we get higher up the pitch. If Maguire was to add that to his game, I'm not saying Maguire's absolute shite, but he's just not enough for me. I think he's a decent backup option, but he shouldn't be a starter for me, at all.
That's a very, very good point, and a point well made, mate. Just before I ask everyone their man of the match, if you're not going to share it because of this beautiful panel tonight, I want you to share the shit out of this stream afterwards because of the incredible comments we've had. But the panel have been excellent tonight, really good rapport, and it's been incredibly fun, and I've enjoyed having you all on. And we got a fucking win.
Finally.
Come
finally.
on.
The United off United gets his win.
I said it earlier, Mark. I was like, oh no, I'm doing a show again with Mark. We're going to lose.
United Tray's my burner account, but anyway. Right, quickly then, man of the match, Amy, I'll start with you.
As good as Dallo was and as good as McTominay was in second half, I'm going to have to say Bruno. 2 assists again. That goal for Mason, it was very selfless of him to pass the ball off to Mason, because I think if that was Mason or Rashford on the ball, they probably would have went themselves. So yeah, 100% Bruno.
Good choice. Listen, I know, again, we're not talking about the first 45 minutes. I made that very clear. I think Bruno was excellent the whole game in that 45 minutes, and I can't disagree with you. Reese, who was yours, my man?
If we didn't score, it would be De Gea. But I'm going to go...
But we did.
That's what I'm saying. That's
3 times.
Fortunately. I'm just going to edge it to Bruno ahead of McTominay. Although Dallo getting man of the match, yeah, he was particularly great, but he wasn't man of the match quality for me. I don't think he was...
Martin Keown was fanboying him.
Yeah.
It's just me and my couch, mate. It's just me and my couches.
I don't think. Well, I'll talk to him about that. I'll talk to you about that at the end.
Henry, but yeah, I'm just going to tip it to Bruno purely for not because of the stats factor, because everything literally went through him. McTominay in the second half was outstanding. So was Fred, but it was literally the discipline of Bruno Fernandes, which I've been waiting for a while, was the major point for us winning the game. So yeah, giving it to Bruno.
2 for Bruno. Henry.
All 11 players, because they managed to rattle Thomas Frank. That's good enough for me.
No, I'm sorry, mate. That's cheating. You got to pick one.
Oh, damn. That's tough. Dello, I'm going to go with it just because the recovery.
Because you love Keown.
You really hate Wan-Bissaka, don't you?
Because you love Keown.
I'm sorry, but Wan-Bissaka, he acts like a... Oh, not even going to say it, no. He's just... He's useless.
Mr. Wade, who's yours?
Bruno Bruno, but if we can rewind it back to like the old days, not giving out trophies and giving out bottles of fizz, I think that McTominay, Fred, Dave, Alanga, Mason, Rashford, they all deserve a sip because at the end of the day, like they all put in a bit of a performance. I know Rashford came on, but it took a lot for him to score that goal. How many times would we have seen him absolutely put it past the post? I thought he took his goal well, so he does get a sip. But I want to give a mention, if I could, to Alanga. I thought he was fantastic. He's been absolutely fantastic since he's come in. He's a lot to learn. He has a lot to learn. But what I've seen so far, if we can get him under the wing of someone like Ronnie, he's going to be such a player. What a player. He's going to be fantastic. I loved it that he scored today. He scored in a nothing game against Wolves last year at the end of the season, but today it meant something and it kicked us on our way. It started there you go. It started what we needed, and what a player. I'm looking forward to seeing.
Are you bringing up? What are you doing? Put me on full screen for?
Just so everyone can see your beautiful image.
I thought I need to get an edit of you, mate, but
behave. I'll give you that tenner later. Bainesy,
that's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting on.
Yeah. He's trying to win the contributor of the month. I see what's happening here. Bainesy, you're man of the match, bro.
McTominay for me. I think matched him in the park physically. He drove the ball forward. He passed the ball forward. Covered for Fred quite a lot, I think, personally. Drove the team forward, I think, in the middle of the park. That's what you need. So McTominay just for me. But if it weren't him, it would be Bruno. But McTominay edges it.
Yeah, I can't disagree with any of you, to be honest, but if I'm going to go for one tonight, just because I'm so fucking pleased for him and he needed it, it's Marcus Rashford. I am 100%. Absolutely over the moon for him, and I really 100%. Hope that everything that's off the field, whatever troubles he's having, gets better and we can see a little bit more of Marcus Rashford like that. Absolute baller. Listen, I'm going to wrap up now. It's now 11 o'clock. Sorry, can't even tell the time. I'm so elated that we won. But no, I really appreciate everyone on tonight. It's been really good fun. Henry, it's wonderful having you back, bro. I really, really appreciate it.
Love it.
And thank you to everybody in the comments. It's been absolutely smashing. We've got some big things coming up, the usual timeline talk, tactical preview, and a few other bits and pieces. There's Keno in the background of that beautiful face. And anyway, on that note, we will see you very soon.